Welcome back. Time now for our feature on gaming investment in 2023. I am joined by Jonathan Pettemerides, the managing partner of Kyprock, and Tom Waterhouse, Chief Investment Officer of WaterhouseVC. Hello to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to our studio. Do you like it?
It's impressive.
Love it.
Yeah, really good.
And it's the first day of ICE. How are you feeling for the show?
Yeah, pretty excited. I think the timing's great. Chinese New Year happened earlier this year, so the whole world is really here for the first time in many years, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's back in full force, isn't it? Yeah. So let's start with our first question. So rising interest rates and special purpose acquisition company boom has come to an abrupt end. How has this changed the investment climate in gaming, Tom?
Well, look, you've seen a lot of the large cap companies have big change in value. You know, like you've had sort of 60 to 80% declines across some of them, especially those that have got a lot of debt. Companies that like Flutter, they've been pretty robust the last 6 months. You've seen great return, and those scale operators, they've been more robust than the ones that are basically on a promise of tomorrow. You've seen deals that have been renegotiated, like 888 deal, Endeavour deal. But in our space, it's been very exciting because we're focusing on those smaller companies that are trying to get funding, and they've struggled. They've really struggled. So companies were sort of being able to get valuations on 9 to 13 times revenue a year and a half ago, and now they're struggling to get at 1 times revenue. So for us as investing, we're deploying capital, so we're getting far better deal terms and being able to negotiate much harder. So it's tough times for some, but those that have got good cash flow, free cash flow, they're in great position, and those looking to invest are finding some real bargains.
And what does this mean for operators and supplier strategies? Are companies that have loaded on debt through customer acquisition or M&A now forced to have a rethink?
Yeah, potentially. I think Tom made a good point there about some of the businesses still, public companies have got cash on the balance sheet, so they're really well placed to continue the M&A spree. Private investment, we're still waiting for some of the valuations to come back down to earth. So there's a bit of a challenge there. But in terms of strategy, you've seen a lot of public businesses overplay their cards in the last year, go on acquisition sprees, potentially buy too many companies at once and completely underestimate the integration time and execution risk of putting those businesses together. Companies are spending a hell of a lot of money on acquisition marketing spend, especially in the US. We're quite focused on leveraging omni-channel operating experience into investments, and we see a good opportunity for businesses to focus on delivering omni-channel strategy as opposed to very high marketing acquisition spends for new customers. So that's a strategy change that we expect over the next year.
And does this in turn create new opportunities for the largest players? As in, could we see land-based market leaders buying their way into iGaming, for example?
I'd say that in most parts of the world that's already happening. I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 of the big giants in world gaming who have got exposure to the Macau and Asian markets, which have been locked down for so long, and that's limited their ability to execute on deals into the online space. So I'd say if you fast forward maybe 12, 18 months, there's probably room for a couple of the giants to buy their way into the sector. But in most cases, there's a lot of convergence already happening. And one other trend I'd say, Tom, I don't know if you've seen similar, but we expect to see more of the social gaming businesses coming into real money online gaming. Which is a trend that we haven't seen before. It's always been the other way. But these guys are well capitalized, they've got cash, and we expect to see a trend there.
Well, we've seen that social interaction that in the Australian market, not necessarily social gaming, but social interaction like Sportsbet, owned by Flutter, with the Bet with Mates product, Dabble, which is just bought by Tabcorp, or bought a stake in it, really taking off. That interaction, social interaction with people, betting as a group, way of acquiring lots of new customers and also keeping them engaged has been really, really popular in the Australian market, and I'm sure will flow through to US and other markets.
So how does this affect startups then? Will investors be more cautious this year, do you think?
Well, we're being more cautious in that we're getting better deal terms, but we're very excited to deploy capital and be invested because it's amazing. I've been in the gambling industry for 20 plus years and family over 100 years, and I don't think there's ever been a more exciting time to be in this sector because you've got the US taking off, but you've also got the crypto markets taking off. And when I say crypto markets, I mean operators that take crypto currency as their form of, rather than fiat, as their form of transacting. And so you've got really these two competing areas that are growing at a rapid rate, and if you've got a supplier that can provide a great service, well, they're plugging into huge growth markets. And so we're really focused on platform businesses, businesses that can provide technology and a platform for people to start a new betting company. We see there's a long runway, not in the US because the licensing is so tough, and they only have a certain amount of licenses in each state. But in the Australian market, it's gone from 8 to 12 bookmakers 5 years ago to 100 bookmakers. And we think that franchise model can roll out in many different markets. And certain data feeds, like whether it's vision or pricing or anything that makes it where it's more streamlined, they're very interesting business for us because you can basically take the same service that you would give to one operator and scale it out to 100 to 500 and so on.
The bigger companies, they've got huge research and development budgets. So you'd still expect growth in the sector and sort of more consolidation, but there's always a place for startups who are more agile, can be more innovative outside of that environment without the bureaucracy of working for a big business. So there's deals to be done on the right terms, and it's quality over quantity, I think, at this point. There's been a period over the last 2 years where capital's been pretty easy to come by. I think those days have gone, but for the right businesses, there is money out there.
So there's opportunities for the startups as well. In terms of disruption to the industry, is that becoming harder, do you think?
There's high barriers to entry. We're very focused on the regulated gaming space, and by default, that's always been challenging for outsiders to come in. They underestimate what it takes to be a licensed, regulated business. So that's always a barrier to entry, and that sort of challenges disruption. But there is still a place, I think.
Yeah, I think I always think, oh well, the game's done. If you look at the Australian market, it was follow the UK market in regulation, tax, and you're like, oh, only scale operators can win. And I said that for years, and then you see a company like Dabble that goes to a few $100 million valuation in a 2.5 year time frame with a social betting angle, you know, and then Sportsbet follows with a Bet with Mates product, and they've changed the dynamics of that market. And then you look at what bet makers have done, rolling out now 30 bookmakers in the Australian market, going from 8 bookmakers to 100. If you told me there's going to be 100 bookmakers online 2 years ago, I'd be like, that's impossible. But if you do the same thing as what everyone's doing, yeah, how are you going to beat the likes of Flutter and Entain? But there's people out there that think of stuff differently and go, well, actually, this might work, and there's a new breed of customers that want something different. So I think there's always a way to do it. You just have to spot, there's going to be a lot of people that try and fail, and spot the ones that are actually going to be winners, and hopefully we invest in those ones.
Yeah, exactly right. Spot on.
And finally, with new technologies having emerged and the industry starting to seek out practical applications, what is your view on blockchain and other Web3 developments? Could they change the gaming industry, or are they simply providing new ways of carrying out existing tasks?
I'll go first, but I know Tom's pretty big on the rise of crypto because he's just mentioned it, but I'm a little bit skeptical from a regulated gaming standpoint. If you look at the UK, the Financial Conduct Authority have refused 85% of crypto applications in the UK because they don't meet AML, anti-money laundering standards. So there's a sort of little bit of tarnished reputation, which almost sort of makes it a left or right decision. Do you go regulated, or do you continue to operate with cryptocurrency and grey markets? But do I see opportunities for technology enablers using blockchain? 100%. I think it's a fascinating area. I think, can you leverage ledgers to record transactions, customer transactions, make efficient onboarding KYC processes? That's where it's really interesting to me, and sort of providing that customer-led experience. And ultimately, it comes back to customer need.
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of customer need, in that the thing that's, I don't know about any cryptocurrency, whether one's better than the other or anything, but the thing, or blockchain, or that's not really my area of expertise. I've been in gambling forever, but the thing is solving customer problems. So the reason why the credit bookies are so big in Asia and the US is because people don't want to have to make transfers on their credit cards all the time. They just want to bet on credit, settle once a week, settle once a month. And you see the biggest operators in both those markets are credit bookies. You see in the cryptocurrency bookmakers have taken off because you get settlement straight away. You're not waiting 3 days for your banking. You, in terms of KYC, they know exactly that customer's funds aren't going to be, like in terms of if they're there, they're actually there. They know that the customer can identify the customer, that that's the customer coming from their wallet. That money goes straight back to their wallet. It's instant. So in terms of timing, quickness, being able to transfer money across borders, borderless, they solve customer problems. So for us, we don't look and have an opinion on a certain blockchain or a certain protocol or a certain, but is it solving a customer problem? Is it going to make it easier for people to bet? Is it going to be easier for them to transact quicker? Just if that solves that customer problem, we're interested, but we don't know in terms of blockchain or cryptocurrency specifically.
I think that's right. Everything comes back to the customer, and that's very much our investment thesis.
Fantastic. So it's day one of ICE. What are you most excited to see, Jonathan?
Look, I think it's huge. I mean, I've been coming to this event for 16, 17 years, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing friends from around the world who are coming into London this week. It's an exciting time, and great to see innovation, obviously see what's coming through, but ultimately it comes back to friends and connections.
And you, Tom?
Yeah, same. I've camped out at a little coffee shop down the other end of the hall, and back to back till all day and into the night for meeting. It's a great place to get everyone together, and and you just hear so much, learn so much. Every time I come, I'm like, oh, I can't believe we got so much done or learned so much. It's great. The whole world of gambling is here. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a fantastic show. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Tom. So up next, we are going live to the show floor to see the opening ceremony. And I will be joined in the studio with Simon Collins, the chairman of Jogo Global, executive chairman of Backstage Play as well. We'll see you shortly.